Shut your fucking face.
Welcome to another Clash of the Horns. And what in the hell has happened to the LA Rams? And a lot of people are talking about, after the Rams beat the Chiefs in one of the best games the Rams have ever played, one of the best games in history, because of the way they were going back and forth and scoring, and it was so exciting. The Rams had a tougher time against the Detroit Lions, but they did win that game, a comfortable game that I think the Rams should have won. And that's when I was saying the Rams need to win games that they're supposed to be winning. And that was one. Then we go and play Chicago, a game that I felt the Rams were basically dominated by the defense. The only game I think in Sean McVay's history where the Rams didn't score a touchdown. And I'm surprised because I thought if the Rams would have just kept it simple, Sean McVay's play calling, which I think it was his problem in this game, was trying to get to Jared Goff heavy. You have one of the best running backs, if not the best running back in the NFL, in Todd Gurley. And Sean McVay was just leaning way too much on Jared Goff, a quarterback that I feel if you get enough pressure on Jared, he's going to crack. I said he's good enough to win your Super Bowl, but he's also not like that cool quarterback where under pressure he can do crazy stuff. No, I know Jared's limitations. I think Jared is a great quarterback. He just, I think he got 4,000 yards this past game against the Eagles. Very few Rams quarterbacks have done that in history, putting guys like Kurt Warner up there and guys like Jim Everett and Mark Bulger, another quarterback there as well, that has done the same thing, 4,000 passing yards plus. And with 2 games left to go, he can probably put 4,500 passing yards if he wanted to. But Jared Goff has been struggling, and it's not pretty. And right when I thought everybody starts believing in Jared the GOAT, I kept calling him Jared GOAT, and I kept saying, in Goff we trust, and all that good stuff. Right when everybody is starting to believe in Jared, he starts sucking, and it is what it is. It has to be called for what it is. And there's plenty of opportunities where Jared has a good shot of getting to a wide open wide receiver, and he either overthrows him or he struggles to get chemistry with Josh Reynolds, and it doesn't look pretty. And I don't know if that's just because Josh Reynolds isn't like a natural slot receiver. I know he's more of an outside wide receiver, probably your number 2 wide receiver. There should be a little bit change up whether or not we should put Robert Woods in the slot. I think he can be pretty close to what Cooper Kupp was in the slot for Jared, or Brandon Cooks in that aspect. I think we still need a taller presence on the outside. Maybe that's something Sean McVay can look into. But the chemistry is off with Jared Goff and Josh Reynolds. It just isn't the same. I still think Josh Reynolds is a good wide receiver, but he's just not Cooper Kupp, and he's not close to being Cooper Kupp in style. So I have no idea what's happened with Sean McVay as well. I know that he depends way too much on Jared at times, especially against that Chicago's game, where we know that their defense is good. And I think they're the number 1 ranked defense right now in the NFL. We know our offensive line is good, but we were struggling against the Chicago Bears. We have an aging offensive line. We have an offensive line that it's pretty good overall, but they're aging. They're not as quick as to compete with guys like Khalil Mack and all the company from the Chicago Bears, and they have pretty good corners. I knew that. And going into this game, I thought, oh, the Rams are going to whoop on the Bears because, the Giants, they beat the Bears. So obviously the Rams are going to win. Nope. In their home field is a whole different aspect, man. And I'm telling you, it's not the fact that we lost 3 games this season so far. Hopefully that's it. 13-3 is a good record. I think we can beat the Cards, and I think we can beat the Niners comfortably, but every time I say that, the Rams end up losing. I think we can go 13-3, but it's the fact that those 2 teams that we just played, the Saints and the Bears, and we lost them, those are the teams we're going to be playing in the playoffs. And if we face them in LA, I think I feel comfortable, but then we lost to the Eagles. We lost to a beat-up Eagles team that is basically garbage, who doesn't even have their starting quarterback. They have Nick Foles, who can get you a couple of yards and he can make things happen, but he also makes mistakes. But you lose to the Eagles' banged-up team. Basically it's their B team, their junior varsity team. That's what the Eagles are playing with right now. Offensive line got some injuries, and you got their obviously their number 1 quarterback, Carson Wentz, and he's not even playing. And here you go, Jared Goff ruining the game again, overthrowing guys, and passes not on target. It looks like Todd Gurley wasn't even focused. And then don't even get me started with Marcus Peters, man. Right when I think Marcus Peters is back to his normal self, he had a pretty good game against Chicago, got an interception, goes into this game, and I'm thinking, okay, Marcus Peters and Aqib Talib are back. Los Angeles is back. All that hype we gave him in the offseason, they're back. Aqib Talib's back. John Johnson, he's a stud. He's playing phenomenal. Which he just didn't make the Pro Bowl this year, even though he was way better than Landon Collins. But we're back, baby. And guess what? We lose to the damn backups for the Philadelphia Eagles. And it wasn't pretty either. We were making mistakes. Jared Goff was, I don't know what to even call that, man. It was just terrible. And the Rams simply have lost their mojo. They don't have that swagger. They feel like a team that's just overthinking itself. The defense isn't playing right. I don't know whether or not we should go with Micah Kiser now. I feel like Mark Barron is just not playing up to par with what he was playing, the way he was playing 2 years ago. I think I still have some hope in Corey Littleton. I think he's an upgrade from Alec Ogletree. But this team isn't playing the way they should be playing. And we know that Aaron Donald is going after that sack record. But when you have teams double teaming Aaron Donald or triple teaming at times, when I saw the Chicago Bears game, and then the rest of the defensive linemen can't even get some separation from their offensive linemen, there's an issue. Because Aaron Donald should be that guy, that disruptor, where he's taking in more offensive linemen, but then that leads one-on-ones with the other guys, and they're not even getting any pressure on the quarterback. So it's like, they're not playing the way they should be playing, up to par. All these star-studded players, and they're not winning games they should be winning. I honestly thought they were going to go 15-1. I honestly did think that. And they could have done that if only they played basically average. But they've been playing poor. They played poor against the Bears. And that one, I'm going to give Sean McVay most of the blame, because he should not have, especially in cold climate, especially with a running back on offensive line. They just didn't make things happen. You run it up the gut enough times, they're going to stop you. So you're going to have to get kind of creative. But he got too pass happy. Jared Goff is out there just staring down his wide receivers, and it doesn't look pretty, man. And like I said, right when we think that Jared Goff is getting the recognition he deserves, and they're playing good, he starts messing up. And then it's like, okay, now you got to hear all the media guys and all the YouTube channels trashing on Jared Goff, even though we have his back. But, I mean, he's playing bad. And it's started ever since the Lions game. He was not playing good even in the Lions game. And something's up. I don't know whether now he's dating a Kardashian in Los Angeles, or he's getting after Taylor Swift now. I know that he had a pretty big crush on Taylor Swift. But something's going on, and I don't know what it is. Maybe they're just not feeling themselves anymore. Maybe being so bad the past couple of seasons and then getting some, much needed wins and getting that confidence, has him being a little too confident now. I don't know. But to me, I think the Rams need to get it together. The next 2 games are very crucial, whether or not they're going to have the 2nd seed. I think the Saints are going to have the 1st seed, and I think it's a lock. I don't see them losing against the Steelers, and they just barely beat the Panthers. But the Panthers in New Orleans, that would be an awesome upset, but we'll see what happens. The Rams just have to win the games that they're supposed to be winning. They should have beat the Eagles convincingly, and they should beat the Cardinals and the Niners. If we go 13-3 and we play fairly dominant or at least average or above average, I'll feel comfortable going into the playoffs. But if we lose one of the next 2 games, or we play poor down to our competition, I don't feel confident in the Rams whatsoever in the playoffs. Because we're going to go up against Chicago, who has a really good running game, a solid defense, a really good defense. And one of the things about Chicago is they don't let up. They have depth in that position in the defensive side of the ball, and they can come after your quarterback and make his life a living hell. Then you have the Saints, and they're an offensive powerhouse with a consistent defense, a decent defense that can make things happen. So if the Rams want to, get into the playoffs and win a playoff game and get into the NFC Championship game, they're going to have to play better than what they're playing right now. So let me know what you guys think. Up until next time, you guys, horns up, go Rams, LA Rams all day, every day. It's okay to criticize their team when they're playing bad. So, I just got to put my 2 cents in. I still have love for this team. I still think they can make it to the Super Bowl, but they just have to play better. They just have to go in the locker room and say, hey, man, we just got to change the way things are going, and it's all up to them.